Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Historic Reflection. And today is May 5th. Lot many historic events have happened today. We have picked up four important items. We will cover all these four one by one. We are also live, so you can actually interact with us just in case if you have any comment or question. So let us start our journey of understanding the historic events which happened on May 5th. The first information is related to grandson of Genghis Khan. His name was Kublai Khan. Very popular, as popular leader as Genghis Khan himself. Kublai Khan name is also registered in history, but today in the year 1260 he was declared the ruler of the entire Mongol Empire. So this is an important historic incident, even though today we do not feel too great about the Mongol Empire, but I'll tell you that many facts have been hidden from the mainstream history study, and I will actually like to give you a brief of what was Mongol Empire. Well, Mongol Empire became one of the largest empire ever to exist in the known written history books. And this was all driven by basically the idea of making their Mongol dynasty a worldwide rage, a world famous dynasty. And you would then ask question that they were nomads and they were coming from an area which was not very rich in resources. They were coming from Mongol, a landlocked area. Even today, they are surrounded by desert and ice, permafrost in Russia in the north and China on the east, and sort of no man's land on the west. How they could have basically defeated so many kings and acquired so much of land on the surface of the earth, and also defeated very powerful armies, and they were basically tribal nomads. So that is one big question. I will try to answer that. I think the answer was given by the typical Mongol warrior, because at that time these are all transformation. So whenever you see a big transformation, this is exactly what the management people also study today. How do we transform our business? So look at this Mongol warrior. He is definitely riding a horse. However, there are many things which are different from other soldiers of the era. Number one, they had a super weapon called a short bow, which packed a punch very similar to a long bow. That means you can actually shoot an arrow at a long distance while riding a horse, without basically with just both hands. So your both hands are free to reload your arrows and accurately fire long distance shots. So this was a great advantage that Mongol army, Mongol warrior had over other powerful soldiers of the era like Romans or Islamic armies or any other army, European armies, Christians, forces, etc. They defeated all of them because they actually were fast, they were swift, their strategy was similar to a blitzkrieg strategy. They were more advanced in terms of advancement in terms of warfare, and that is why they were able to defeat all armies. They decimated their enemy, whoever stood in front of them. That was that was what they were doing, and they were winning land. And therefore, because of this winning spree, they were able to, Mongol Empire was one of the largest empire in the history of mankind, in written history of mankind. And this is the extent of Mongol Empire. You can imagine, right, from almost the entire east of Asia to Eastern Europe. They controlled everything in between, and except India, because Genghis Khan decided not to invade India. Genghis Khan told his army not to cross Indus River on the west and Brahmaputra on the east, and he had very friendly relationship with Indian kings. So India was never attacked by Genghis Khan. However, Genghis Khan at the time conquered the entire known world, and they actually formed one of the largest empire known to the world on the basis of new tactics and also innovation of warfare. Uh, but calling Mongols only a barbaric warrior is actually wrong, because the entire empire was built on trade, not on the war. They, of course, used to win area, but then what do you do after winning the area? They were basically very, very keen about establishing the business and trade routes, and they loved doing business, and that is why during the Mongol era there were lot of goods being transacted from east to west and vice versa. And to do all that business, they actually created the Silk Route. It is a huge misconception that the Chinese Silk Route, in fact, today we call Silk Route from China, but these Silk Routes were not created by the Chinese. They were actually created by the Mongols. And the Silk Route that you see here in red are the original Silk Routes which were created by the Mongols, and later they were basically taken over by Chinese, and they then extended them to the sea routes also, which are shown in blue. So when we talk about Silk Route, basically it is given to us by the Mongol Empire. So Kublai Khan becoming the king today is a big event on May 5th, way back in 1260. And therefore, I thought I will cover this as an important event which happened today in our historic reflection program. So I will take a short break before we start on the next subject. Welcome back, friends. And if you have any question on the Kublai Khan, we are live. You can actually send in your comments and question. All right, so let's start the next historic item today. And that is related to basically standardizing the actual length of a meter. You see, when the civilization is growing and we are saying that, okay, this place is so many kilometers away, so many thousands of meters away, etc., etc. What is a meter? Until and unless you say that this is the length of the meter, and the meter has to coincide with something, so that you know exactly if you're walking 2 steps or 3 steps, it is actually you're walking a meter. And then every time it has to be standard. That means you go and you measure anything in meter, it has to be standard anywhere on Earth, or even on Mars, or even on Jupiter. So it has to be standardized. So that job was done today, and therefore it's a historic day for us, especially for science community, because in the year 1792 a Frenchman, a mathematician, Jean-Baptiste Joseph Delambre, was commissioned to measure the meridian between Dunkirk and Rhodes to calculate the actual length of the meter. Accurate. So basically his job was to basically find out the methodology, because imagine in the 18th century, 1792, people had so many different misconceptions. There was church on one side, then there were crusaders going on in Europe, and people were using different methods of measurement. Some were using a foot, some were using something else. However, and the metric system was still evolving, so somebody had to standardize. So I think the job given in the 1792 was to standardize a meter. And it is an important event, because whatever we know today about any measurement is actually came from this particular scientist. All right, so what was the issue? The issue was to measure distance from Dunkirk to Rosette, basically, and which is the shortest route. If somebody has to travel from one point to other, the challenge humanity faced, that how do I know which route I have to take and which is the shortest one, and how I have to calculate my distances, etc. Because in those days, since there was no standard available, so imagine, first time somebody is doing this kind of work, how difficult it would be to come up with some standard, I think, because there was no standard global standards organization. Which standard this person was supposed to follow is something which was a big problem. And when we're talking about standard, that means scientists of the day were basically pioneers, because they created the standard for everything. So today is their birth day for a meter, the actual accurate birth date for a meter. And May 5th is an important day because it was announced that finally a standard was applied, and that is that a meter is a 1/10 millionth of a distance from equator between North Pole and South Pole. So there is a standard which was applied here and said that, okay, fine, it will be the 1/10 of a distance between North and South Pole when the line is passing through the equator. And this replaced the previous pendulum based method, because pendulum, by the time it was realized that the pendulum are not very accurate, and pendulum oscillation is can be affected by the gravity in different places. So different places on earth have different gravitational effect, and because of that the pendulum will actually will be different, will provide different readings in different places on earth. Therefore, if some traveler is basically trying to find out what is the distance he's traveled using the pendulum method, he will not get accurate figures all the time. So there has to be an approximation. So finally in 1792 the old method of pendulum was replaced by the accurate meter. So I would say May 5th is the birthday for a meter, because everything else, all distances are based on meter. Even the light years are based on meter eventually. So our knowledge of measuring the distances actually got introduced today. So a important day, friends, May 5th, birthday of a meter. All right, so before moving on to the next story, I will take a very short break. Don't go anywhere, I'll be back soon.
Hello, welcome to today's edition of The Story. And today I will be telling a story, a wonderful story of perfume. And everybody knows that perfume has become a kind of a product which is must when we are going out somewhere and when we are going into any function. So today I will be telling you about Chanel pipe, and this is a brand which is very popular. It is number one sale in this in the market of perfume. But at the same time, I also want to tell you little bit history of this perfume. It so happened that it when there was a perfume in the early 90s where two types of perfume were used by ladies. One was soft, which directly comes from the flower fragrance, and that said to be those kind of women will wear, those who are considered educated and pious kind of thing. And the other kind of perfume was being considered and was taken care, or people or the women used to apply those wear that perfume who are working in court or more professional, that used to be considered as a hard perfume. But Coco Chanel came with an idea which perfume is somewhere between of these two, soft and the hard perfume, and that makes the wonders, because this perfume became very popular, and people were not shy to wear that kind of perfume. And you know that the beside when we talk about the advertisement of this perfume, beside Marilyn Monroe, Brad Pitt, Brad Pitt and Nicole Kidman. The first phase of advertisement was Coco Chanel herself. So this is something, a brief history about the perfume. Perfume has become very popular, and even today, as I told you, that this is. She was a fashion designer and she wanted something new. Now, why the five number, the branding of five Chanel itself has a story. The five actually is put by Coco Chanel to commemorate her association with the Christian school which she studied, because after 12 years she was handed over to nuns, and where she spent 5 years in a convent education with a Christian setup. And to give rise to this 5 years which was imprinted on her heart, she put five Chanel. Chanel is the surname of Coco Chanel. So this is how this whole perfume brand emerged, and even today the perfume image, the perfume is being number one in the sale in the market. They have their own retail outlet. You will not find anywhere else if they are original. At the same time, I would like to talk to you regarding the bottle of Chanel, which is always square. Again, it is considered that this is the impact of Christianity, because in the chapels you will find more square type of figures, and that same idea is being taken by Coco Chanel for the bottling of the perfume. But at the same time, there are many people who also say that it also being inspired by all toiletries which were available at that time, because they were tiny and they were easy to carry. But at the same time, there were some expert who said that bottle is also have an impact of whiskey decanty, because this whiskey bottle, because at that time the whiskey bottle can be packed in a small leather bag and can carry seamlessly anywhere. So anyhow, this bottle remained there, though there were many changes which were done, but it remained somehow same as it was originally designed by Coco Chanel. And the best part is, if you see from a distance the bottle, you will see that as if the bottle is transparent, only the liquid is filled. So that is the wonder part of a Chanel bottle. So this is something which I wanted to share, because the Chanel 5 was launched today in 1921. So I will be back with another story. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to our next story. Our next story is about Donald Trump. And you know, he is one of the most popular president, not only popular in America, but when he visited India, many people cheered when he was passing. Many people cheered about him, and many people have talked to regarding him in the newspaper, and he became quite popular due to his speech in Gujarat Stadium. So I would like to tell you that being in office, he was banned by Facebook for commenting on the Capitol riot and supporting these rioters, and that is why Donald Trump was banned for 2 years, and it ban was done today. So it was quite news, because for the first time somebody, a president who is already in office and he is banned by a social media company. And as you know, that social media plays a crucial role in election, in political scenario, and this is how this has been a great news of great impact as far as the polity of America, as far as the incident is considered. Now, when we are talking about Donald Trump, he was most followed president in the world before this position is taken over by Narendra Modi. So that became a very big news, and though his 2 years of ban is complete, and we are now hearing that they are reinstalling his profile, but again with lot of imposition, and we have to see how the Donald the Trump will react to this new phase of Facebook, because that is a big news when Facebook has banned 2 years back, that is 2021, acting president and posting any news, because he is the one who used to post his own he was create his own post by himself, unlike many other political personality who give this role to PR agencies or advertising agencies to do a social media campaign. But here is a person who used to do by himself, and now we have to really look into how he will react once his profile is reinstalled by Facebook. So this is done 2 years back, today, May 5 and 2021, and now it's up to you. I would look forward for your comments on this. And now the whole situation is now coming back to the normal. Facebook is considering Mr. Trump to come on Facebook once again. So this is a news which I wanted to share with you, and I'll be meeting you again tomorrow. Till then, be happy. Take care.